Hello everyone, welcome back to Father and Daughter Podcast with myself, Ria.
And myself, Mem, the father of Ria, co-creators and writers of The Only Way We Knew, a crime psychological thriller based on true events. Yeah?
Yeah. So 16th episode today. We'll touch on a few things before we actually get into the actual podcast. So some of you may have seen, some of you may not have seen. But our last upload was stepping away from the podcasts. Dad activated his inner David Attenborough and we went to the cemetery.
What do you mean David Attenborough? As the lion mounts the Saharan lioness.
Yeah, you've been compared to David Attenborough, so...
Have I?
Yeah, lots of people think you got what it takes to...
What, do wildlife?
Yeah. So, yeah, if you guys haven't seen that video, check it out. It was our last upload. But prior to that one, we did a podcast which was a complete and utter flop. But I do think it was quite funny.
We had a good response.
Yeah, it was quite funny.
We had a really good response. It does show sometimes that... I don't know what was wrong that day. I don't know
With
what was
who?
wrong.
Me or you?
I think it was you. Because obviously I finished work and I do need a bit of juice to get going. I just feel like you never had any juice that day. And I felt like as much as I was trying, I just felt like... I don't know, it just happens, doesn't it?
You
Do you know what I mean?
When we were actively filming, I did think it was you. I did. But upon reflection, watching it back...
I tried so much.
You did. I really felt sorry for you
did.
at times. I did. Like, you were trying to keep it together and I was just there being a bit of a bitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm feeling much better.
If you guys haven't watched that and this is the first time that you've come onto our YouTube channel, go back and check that episode out. It's going to be episode number 14. It's when a podcast fails. Okay, I think it was a blinding podcast actually when we watched it back. I couldn't stop laughing. But moving on from that to our last upload, going through when we done the short little video, going back to the cemetery. That was, I feel like we need to sort of carry on from that.
Yeah.
Is that, yeah?
Yeah.
So obviously when we was going through the cemetery, you know, it was a bit, it wasn't easy.
No.
You know.
I feel like in the video you will hear Dad talk about the fact that he doesn't go there often. And I know that he doesn't. So it's something that we're not, unaware of. But to go there with him, and the purpose of us going, it wasn't to visit, was it? In that sense, it wasn't a personal visit as such. So it was a little bit of a, I don't know, we went there with a purpose, which was to film.
There is a chapter in the book that the cemetery's in it.
Yeah.
The actual funeral of Dad passing, and as well as the illness and everything, there was the final stages of his life, which were put into the book.
Yeah.
And, I thought it was nice going. It was nice to go there and show the viewers.
Yeah.
Because, again, when they read the book, it's so important that we express the area, the place.
Because me personally, I think prior to him passing and being buried there, I don't actually think I had visited that particular cemetery much. I know obviously you have other family members in there, but it wasn't a place that I was familiar with like that. So I think being a kid, I think you had taken me before, but it wasn't something I was very familiar with up until...
As a kid, I'll be honest with you. As a kid, I would take you to that cemetery to see my nan and my granddad.
Yeah, I think that's who it was.
Yeah, and the only time I would go to that cemetery when I was feeling low. It was the only time I would go. I was feeling down and I needed a bit of a pick me up. and I don't know what used to make me go there, and what used to make me feel, what used to pick me up. I don't know what used to do it, because when before my dad, your dad there was there, or Rami was there, it was just my nan and granddad. I can remember going there with you guys as a kid, going up there and going into deep thought. And I don't know if it was just the realization, or that makes me reevaluate, you know, my life, and take everything for granted. You know, am I taking everything for granted, or I'm just losing control? I did feel like when I did go out there, I'll be honest with you, it's probably a selfish thing. I used to go out there for personal reasons. Do you get what I mean? But yeah.
How did you feel coming away from there though that day? Like after we filmed?
It's hard when we film and we do these things, because now we're both as a team. You got to remember, we was there with Layla as well, which was great. And when I come away from there, it's a bit like, have we achieved what we needed to achieve? Have we projected enough without giving too much away?
Yeah.
To keep the readers or the viewers, I wouldn't say hooked, but interested. You know what I mean? Relate. I mean, you got to remember, cemeteries are, we all visit cemeteries. You know, we all have a connection with them, or we're all gonna have a connection with them in one way or another. Obviously, if you're cremated or you're buried. Coming away from there, I just felt like, have we achieved what we wanted to achieve? And I personally didn't think we did.
You didn't?
No, until we watched it. And I just felt like, yeah, that's enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
do think that is the trouble when you're trying to, I think with the book, because it's the same with all of our podcasts. When we touch on certain topics, you do hold back a lot of information that is essential. It's essential in mentioning, and again, I feel like it would really capture that relation when it comes to people being able to relate to the book. Yeah. But you have to keep that, obviously, because we don't want to ruin anything for the people that are going to read it. So I feel like we will always have that problem until the book is released.
Yeah.
But I do feel like in a summary, we did cover what we intended to. And I think that's just mainly about, like, you know, the purpose of what the video was. So, like, to you, what was the purpose of the video?
The purpose of the video, it was, you know, it's one to show, you know, this is real. This is no joke, this book.
Yeah.
You know, you understand what I mean? We're talking about someone who's passed. And to show, you know, an area, you know, where to show a grave.
Yeah.
A lot of people won't show these things. They find it personal.
Yeah.
But like I said, and I think I said it in the video, I wish I could celebrate his death. And I felt like by me showing a little bit of what we showed with the video, it's like I'm inviting people to celebrate his death.
Yeah. Because I think cemeteries or graveyards, whatever you'd refer to them as, it is a very morbid environment, isn't it? Like, you walk in, immediately you're like hit with this feeling of
realization.
Yeah, you're a little bit like, oh, okay. And then it's only until you actually deep the abundance of people that are buried in that place. And that particular cemetery, I found a lot, like, it's a beautiful cemetery, and it's huge. It's actually quite big. And yeah, I feel like when you look around and you actually like grasp how many people are like buried under the ground. It's something you overlook, if that makes sense, but it's only until you really like, you know, take it in, absorb it.
Look, the reality of it is that cemetery, I feel like it's so sacred to me.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds really weird, but it only belongs to my family.
Yeah.
Because I don't know no one else.
I was going to say, I feel like with you too, and like me personally. So I actually visually, like my visual memory, haven't really acknowledged other parts of that cemetery. I acknowledge and I'm like, you know, I can picture it and everything where Dead Air is buried and where other family members are. But anywhere else in that cemetery, I can't really visualize. Yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah.
But you don't. You don't, because the moment, and I suppose this is for everyone, is the moment you get to them gates of the cemetery, you're only there for one reason.
Of course, yeah.
You're only there for one reason. You're there to visit your loved one. And while you're there to visit your loved one, you go and say hello to your other loved ones. Next to my dad is my great uncle. Next to my great uncle is my great auntie. Further along is my auntie, my cousin, my auntie's husband.
It is sad
it's,
that
at the top is my nan, my granddad. You know, it seems like
over time it's just become more family members
and more, and it's going to look. This is the truth. It's going to get more. You understand what I mean? I mean, my whole family will. I know it sounds really sad. Will end up all in that fucking cemetery.
Yeah. It's pretty deep, isn't it?
It's deep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know it's a bit dark and a bit deep, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and this is why the book itself, you know, one of the key elements of the book, you know, is trying to set an example, send a message out there. And one thing that I did do, and if this is the only thing that can frighten an individual or give them a wake up call or a revaluation of their life, is death.
Yeah.
You understand?
Because there is such a huge stigma around death. Like, I thought about this, especially once we set ourselves on filming in the cemetery. I was like, you know what? The only thing that is promised to us is the fact that we are all going to die. It's like no one lives forever. No one. It's unheard of. Yes, people have longer lives than other people. But we're all going to die. And it's something that we shy away from thinking about in our everyday life. And we're only human. We're not going to think about that like that because, you know,
we don't want to.
We don't want to. We kind of compartmentalize that aspect of life because we don't want it to become pointless. You know, you don't want to then think of like, well, what's the point? I'm going to die anyway.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you can channel that whole like perception of like, you know, while you're here, you have to live your life to its fullest potential. You know, like you said in the video yourself, like if you knew your time was limited and you knew like, you know, you only had X amount of time left, what would you do differently? And I do think sometimes that separates people from each other because there's a portion of people that live like that. You know, like life is short. Life is short. Well, I'm gonna do what I want to do.
When I want to
I'm gonna take the chances I can take. Opportunity, I'm taking it. I'm just winging it. Do you know what I mean? Trying to experience all they can experience. And then the other half of people are the opposite. Like they don't deep it in that way and they just kind of float by.
Exactly like what I said in that video. I did explain some people believe they're going to live forever.
Yeah.
You know, they honestly do believe this because a realization hasn't come to them. There hasn't been a stage in their lives where they've lost someone yet.
Yeah.
You know, they might have lost a grandparent that's really, really old, or they were really, really young at the time and they haven't been able to understand it.
Yes.
Or it didn't
yes,
seem real.
Yes.
Or it didn't have no connection with the person. So what you tend to find is someone sort of can drift along. This week, had a number of conversations with clients, you know, and I say to them, please don't think I'm telling you off.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, I'm going to go and see my mum. Like, when was the last time you went and saw your mum? 3 weeks ago. No, sorry. I've seen them 3 times this year. I said, what? In the last six months, you've only seen them 3 times? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, you can't be doing that. You can't be doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's important, you know, like when we spoke, and I spoke on the video, I did explain about, you know, if you only had a certain amount of time in this world, what would you do differently? But a lot of it is to spend time with your family.
Yeah.
And this is what I was trying to explain just now about trying to send the message in the book. The message in the book was, I missed out so much on you guys growing up, which is the true essence of my life. Is the true, it gives me my full fulfillment to make sure, don't matter what happens to me at work, if I've had a shitty day, if I've had a shitty month, or you know, I've had a bad telephone call, or I've had a shitty client, or just something hasn't gone right, trust me, to know I've got my kids at home, it just makes everything okay.
Yeah.
And that's the shit I missed out on when I was younger with you guys, that I never expressed that feeling. And what I was trying to get to before I drift into something so far away is that I lost so much time. And this is what the book is expressing.
Yeah.
Is that why is it took something so drastic for me
To put it into
perspective and me to look in the mirror and go, fucking hell, I'm 35 years old. What the fuck have I been doing? What am I doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand what I mean? So the book, a lot of the moral being of that is time.
Yeah.
Time is so important, and I'll express it again and again and again. Yeah.
I think as well, why it was important for us to go there is because grief was such a big drive behind the story too itself. Obviously from our other podcasts, you'll gather that it was a grieving process for Dad specifically, and a way for you to manage your emotions and, I don't know, understand them a little bit better. So to go there, and like I said, if you haven't watched it already, give it a little watch. But yeah, the way that you speak about like grief and grieving. See, now like me, it's a weird one, because when I look at you and I look at like the fact that you lost your dad, so it's something that I can't relate to in that sense. So when you're speaking about those kind of things, yeah, I can't say it's something that I've experienced in that way. But I know that when that time comes, I know it's going to be like that. Does that make sense? Like, it's one of them ones where I don't have to have experienced it for me to know that that is the case. So yeah, I think it was important for us to go there as well, because... How
did you feel walking through there? I mean, it's not very often that, you know, like I explained in the last video, that I do not like going there.
Yeah. And I can actually admit I'm guilty of not visiting as much as I probably should either.
But you, it's a bit different for you. It's different for you because, one, it's not round the corner.
Yeah.
You know, you have to drive. You haven't got no one to take you. You know, it's not easy for you. So for you to say I don't go as much as I should, you should go.
Yes.
But you don't go for specific reasons.
Yeah, it's not that I
don't go because
you
I
find
don't
it hard.
want to.
Yeah.
It brings things into realization for me.
Yeah.
And that's something maybe I still have to look at. Maybe I have to...
Approach differently.
No, maybe it's something that I don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
Maybe there's part of me that makes me feel like I don't want to believe he's gone. So for me to go to a cemetery every week, and it's just like a reminder
More of a
over
reminder.
and over and over again.
Yeah.
And us writing this book and doing what we're doing, he's alive. He's a fucking alive to me. For me to go to that cemetery and sit there and look at this stone and think he's 6 foot underground is the true fact of what's happened.
Yeah.
And I don't want to accept that. I do, but I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it's thrown in my face, it's hard. It's very, very hard. The when I think about the whole thing, I'm in a cloud limbo.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem real.
Yeah. It's very
This whole
surreal.
thing, it doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
Dad used to go Cyprus a lot. He used to do this a lot, and in my head, he's there.
He's in Cyprus.
He's in Cyprus.
Yeah, you just don't see him as often.
It sounds selfish to say that, because someone might go to you, yeah, but he's not. I know he's not.
Yeah.
But if it keeps
It
me
keeps
sane,
me going. Yeah.
it keeps me going. It's my wish.
Of course.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no one can
And
take that away from you.
so that's why, like, to that day when we went, it's beautiful. Do you get what I mean? It's beautiful, but it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy for none of us. You know, not just me. You know, it's not easy for my cousins. I've got cousins that have got a mum there. They got their dad there. They got both their parents there. God bless their soul. You know, so when they go and they visit their mum and their dad, who's my auntie and my uncle, it must be like an end of a family.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? If there's people out there that go and visiting their ones, they're visiting their kids.
I know.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a cousin now, young cousin. Now, I don't want to talk too much about him, but you know what I mean. But you know, people are visiting these people, and that's the thing. Only until you walk around and you start looking, you start to realise, shit.
Yeah.
People have got different stories here. And exactly like what I explained, you know, we're all going to die. And we all die a different way.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very true. If I think back to the funeral specifically, so I was 16. I didn't really know what to expect because I had been to a few funerals prior to my granddad's funeral.
Whose funeral did you go to?
Oh,
Whose funeral did you go to? You went to your nan, your great nan's.
or was that afterwards?
That was after. You went to your great auntie.
yeah.
That was after.
So it was
Yeah.
the first funeral that I had been to.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn. So yeah, okay. I hadn't really deeped it like that. I think it's because my great nan and my granddad, their deaths were
Similar
time. Yeah. So yeah, okay. It was my first ever funeral. And yeah, I don't know. I was just a little bit like, shit, I know this day is going to be intense emotion wise, but I don't think I fully anticipated how much emotion I was to feel. From the get-go, I remember going to the mosque, and I was just an emotional wreck from the moment I was outside the mosque. Like, these are my memories of it. And yeah, I can remember your auntie. I can't remember which auntie it was. I think it was your...
It was my Zili Hahala.
Yeah.
It was my oldest one.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was your eldest auntie.
Yeah. And she was saying he shouldn't have gone because he was younger than me.
Yeah. And I can remember being so emotional and being outside the mosque and just crying and crying and crying. and I really didn't know what had come over me. Like, it was just I started just feeling all these different emotions, not even just for me personally, but it was for everyone else. It was like, started looking at Nene, like, I can't believe this, and you, and, just everyone that had loved him, and just started really, like, deep in what's happened. And yeah, so I can just remember being so emotional, and then going inside the mosque. Again, it was a bit of a new experience for me, because again, that was the first time I'd ever done anything like that. And then seeing him there, I can remember that, and that was very surreal. I think that was the first time I'd ever done anything like that. And I remember watching you, like, say goodbye, and it was just very, I don't know, like, my heart was in pain that day. Do you know what I mean? I just couldn't really control how I was feeling. And then going to the actual cemetery, I can only describe it as a film. It was like how I'd imagine Tony Montana's funeral to be, if that makes any sense. Like, the amount of people, like, when we say that there must have been hundreds of people, there must have been hundreds of people. I didn't think it was possible for that many people to attend a funeral. And I was just a little bit in disbelief when we arrived and there was that many people there just already.
It's a realisation of how loved he was.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah.
And how many people knew him, liked him. You got to remember, at that funeral, a lot of people from the village, from Lurigina, Northern Cyprus episode, that emigrated over to Cyprus, London, UK, went to that funeral. Cousins of cousins, friends, family members, work colleagues, arch enemies there that didn't like each other turned up.
It seemed like people, even if they had just had passing conversations with him but knew of him and knew about him, wanted to come and pay their respects. And yeah, it was phenomenal, the amount of people that came. And from the get-go, it was just, again, emotions were just running, and it was a very beautiful send-off, I feel. It was very, how can I describe it? Like, there's no words. Like, I mean, everyone acknowledged his life and everyone acknowledged his death that day, I feel.
See, it's hard for me because I really want to talk a little bit more about it, but I don't want to give too much away. There's a bits in the book that I can remember.
That's what I mean. As I'm speaking, I'm like, do I say this?
It was a bit like that day. I can remember when the day was fine, and as soon as the hearse pulled up and we pulled him out of the hearse, and the brothers, his brothers and his sons, me, my brother, my cousin, my two uncles, my other cousin, we had him on our shoulder and we walked along that bit you're going to see from the main road up to the grave where we was going to position him. And as soon as it came, we pulled him out, the heavens opened, mate. I've never seen rain so hard in all my life. And like I explained that time, I wanted it to hurt me. But we carried him over, and it was a crazy, crazy moment, that, because you had the Imam who was singing his hymn, talking in, reading from the Quran or whatever it may be, and as well as it was raining, and I can remember I'm not going to say too much, but I will tell you another bit about it, was that I can remember us when we was lowering him down, and we lowered him down, and we lowered him down into this grave, and us as the family, we bury him. We use the shovels and we bury him, and we start to fill the hole up. And I can remember I had the shovel, and this is no lie, and whoever was at that funeral will go, I remember that. And I had the shovel, and it was my fault, and I don't think anyone knows that, and this is the first time that I'm going to say it. Yeah? Was that we was digging, and as I was digging, I've gone in like that, bang, and I've lifted up, I felt this wedge, and as I've moved it, I've pushed it into the hole, and as I've pushed it into the hole, I never realised, but it was a big boulder. And as the boulder's gone down, it's smashed on top of the coffin, and it smashed the top of it. I don't know, do you remember that? Yeah, it smashed the top of the coffin, and the top of my dad's head you could see the top of my dad's head. And this is, you can imagine, he's 6 foot, 9 foot down, and I've just done that, and he smashed the top of it, and it's pissing down with rain, and my heart was like, what the fuck have I just done? And I can remember my sister screaming, oh my God, this shouldn't be happening, this shouldn't be this way. And I just think to myself, what the hell have I just done? But there was part of me that was thinking, he just wanted to say bye one more time. You know what I mean? And I can remember the undertaker, he grabs a big bit of wood and he jumps down into the hole. He jumps down on both sides and he wedges this wood down. Then he covers the top. Then he just says, keep filling it, just keep filling it, just keep filling it. And it was just like, and I was just going for it. I wouldn't put down that shovel, and was just passing it around, and I got goose pimples all down my right hand side. And when that filled up, that hole, it was the saddest moment of my life, because there was no more shoveling, there was no more movement, there was no more hospital, there was no more waiting for results, there was no more, is he at home, is he feeling better, is he taking his medication, is there anything? There was no more of none of it. And to know that last shovel went on, that was it. It was just the most heartbreaking thing to know that he's just going to become mud now. But yeah.
I think in those situations, like where you've just said about there's no more hospital, there's no more, all the stuff that was going on prior to him passing, there's a part of you that doesn't mind feeling all that stress, all that pain, all that, worry, all of them things emotions you were feeling in the build up to him passing, because it just meant that he was still there. And knowing that when you left the cemetery that day, it was all done, it's a bit of a hard pill to swallow, isn't it?
It was like you went to the dump and threw the rubbish.
Yeah. And it's like
no different.
Yeah.
No different.
And I remember that happening. I can remember everyone panicking, like, shit, what's happened? Didn't know it was because of you, but...
Yeah, that was me. I did that. And that was the first time I've said it, and I don't think anyone realised who did it, because everyone was shoveling.
Yeah.
So
and I can remember everyone wanted to shovel a bit.
Fill it in, yeah.
Yeah, everyone wanted to play their little part, and yeah, I mean it was a crazy day. I will never forget it. So, do you feel like that whole experience, in terms of the way that you grieved and losing your dad in the way that you did, do you feel like it made you stronger?
Yeah.
In what way?
It's a hard one, because at that time, remember, I just had Kyra. Me and your mum just had our little one. So, as well as the businesses and all that. I've mentioned it all before. You know, I had to escape from the grieving process. So I locked onto my business. My brain just become occupied with it. And I felt like I weren't grieving. I feel like I just wasn't grieving.
You're a bit numb.
I went numb. I locked it out. And at that time as well, there was a lot of other things going on. And losing Dad was the most impacted thing that happened to me at that time. But having the business and having Kyra
It was a distraction.
A physical, real distraction that could keep me distracted. But yeah, grieving. What was the question?
Do you feel like it's made you stronger?
Yeah. It just makes me reevaluate the real and true mem of who I am. You know, before I could probably actually say that. I don't know if that's just part of growing up. Maybe it was me growing up. But then I can look at other people and I feel like they don't fucking grow up. So when I say growing up, I'm not saying that I've become an old miserable man. I've become mem. You know what I mean?
You ain't become an old miserable man.
Yeah, so some people go, I don't want to grow up. You know what I mean? I don't want to be an old man.
Yeah.
But
no, it's just mentality wise.
I've just become, I know what is real and I know what is true. And I know life can change tomorrow. And that was where I felt feared as well. Like I explained it in the last upload, that, you know, I feared for my own life because I love my life. You know what I mean? And I just got scared. I become scared, very, very scared. And only until I got over that, it made me realise that I'm the true memo of who I am after that. You know what I mean?
So we know we can't live forever. Would you want to if you could? If someone said to you, here, mem, there's a pill, take this pill and you'll live forever. Would you want to?
If things didn't change, yeah.
In terms of physicality? Like your physical being? Or do you mean like...
Yeah, just if we stayed how we are now
then
today, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to change it. And it sounds really strange. Even Dad dying, I wouldn't change.
Okay.
Because I feel like him dying gave me so much strength and so much appreciation and so much understanding of real life and what it actually means and what our purpose here is. You know, a lot of people go, I want to achieve this, and I want to achieve that, and I want to achieve this. It's the real purpose, I believe, in this world is to be fathered and to father.
In what way?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So is to mother and to be mothered and to mother. These are the true purposes of your life. Sadly, some people can't do these things. But
do you mean like reproduce?
Yeah. So you got to learn from you got to be fathered. So my dad, my uncles, wise men, they're fathering me, they're showing me, and I take that in and I show that to the next generation down. So the more I can grasp, the less hurt my next generation will experience.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is what it's about. It's about to grasp and take in as much wisdom, education, to take in as much experiences, and you pass them on. And I think that is the true meaning of life. And that is why I feel like this book is so important, because as much as me trying to pass on information to you guys, hopefully this book will pass an element of a mental understanding of an individual, of his experiences and what he's learned from his past to stay in a book for my future generation to understand how a person thought and why he thought like that, and how that person who is reading that book can familiarize with it and understand that when they're in a situation, dark or good, is not to take it for granted, and take it as this is a good moment for them to take on that wisdom, that experience that happened in the past instantaneously, because he was my great granddad. He was my great great granddad. He was my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, powerful. Very powerful.
Yeah.
I do agree with you as well. Yeah, I think it's one of them ones, isn't it, where it's like, because we always talk about like support systems and, you know, having the correct people around you. And
would you want to live forever?
do you know what? Me alone live forever? No, because then I would watch everyone around me die.
No. See, that's exactly what I just said to you just now. Like you said to me, would I want to live forever? And I said, if it stays like this, no. I mean, yeah.
Well, this
But
is what
if I stayed like this and like everyone else got older,
exactly.
no, I wouldn't want to do that.
Right, but you're asking me personally, so let me finish.
Yeah, no, go on. Yeah,
so
no, yeah.
God.
I'm fine with myself.
So no, if it was just me, I wouldn't. But if I could remain this age and my loved ones could remain the same age that they are, and life could always be that way, then yeah, why not? You know, life is beautiful. As long as you're healthy, as long as, you know, you don't taint yourself in that way, life is full of possibilities. So yeah, there would be a way it would be good, but the reality of life, I don't know, we've just all got to go, haven't we? So
We've just all got to go.
we've all got to go one day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to live forever and ever and ever and ever. Maybe there would be no point to what we do in our lives if that was the case.
Yeah.
Maybe we have more purpose knowing that we won't be here forever. Maybe our purpose would be eradicated if we did live forever.
This is why I feel like it's so important that, you know, it's important for you as well to take this on, and for anyone else that is watching this, your sisters, my nephews, Eshen, Josh, it's so important for them to watch this, is to make sure that we, as the children of the people that took the sacrifice to make a better life, we don't take that for granted, and we make the best of every opportunity and make the best opportunities in our life. Like I said in the last podcast, I explained about we're safe here, but we have to make the opportunities. We have to go out that little bit extra and grasp and make sure that we open doors. No one's going to open the door for us, trust me. I said that in one of the documentaries. I was waiting for someone to come and give me this magic ingredients. Ain't going to happen. It's down to you to do that. But what I'm trying to get to is make sure that we create the byproduct of the immigration of my mum and my dad and my uncles and my aunties. So you guys have got to make sure that you foundate that they can say in their grave, if there is a heaven, they can say, thank God I'm buried here.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm buried here. Thank God I migrated to the UK. Thank God. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Don't make it a waste of time. And I try and say this to everyone. Make sure you make it worthy, not for yourself, but everyone around you. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I do agree.
Yeah?
Yeah, I agree. You're all right, ain't you, Dad?
Huh?
You got some good. I don't know. I can imagine you on a stage, like everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Die.
No. But everyone, like, you know, I don't know. It's powerful statements, isn't it? It is powerful.
I don't want to be here, and I hate it when I keep hearing people. Like, I watch Instagram or whatever, stuff like that, and I constantly getting a number of people constantly trying to tell people about how to make money and you're a success and you're this and you're that. Look, when I say these things about trying to make everything worthy, you can only make worthy of what you can achieve. We're all different. Yeah. So not everyone is going to be a multi-millionaire, Bugatti driving, palace living. You know, you understand what I mean? Maldives holidays. Not everyone's going to be able to do that. You can only achieve what an individual can achieve. And if that is your individual achievement, it's the biggest achievement you can achieve.
Yeah.
And for me to sit here and watch that and go, she's happy. That's the biggest achievement a parent could ever see. Because I know you know how to create happiness. And what I was trying to get to, there? I was trying to get to a little point.
About, you said you watch on Instagram.
Yeah,
people.
I watch all these people trying to explain about how to make money. And the thing is, they give you this feeling. Yeah, well, they don't give me a feeling, but I can see they give individuals feelings that if you don't do what they do, yeah, you're not going to make no money. And you're going to be guilty and you're going to feel like shit.
Less than.
And you're going to feel less of a person. Do you understand what I mean? And I just feel like it's not about that. It's about encouraging people. Do you know what I mean? To fulfill and live their own lives the best way they can. You, your sister, and your other sister are going to live 3 completely different lives. None of you are going to be the same. And I would never want you to say, I want you to live my life. Or I would never want your daughter, my other daughter, Layla or Kyra, to go, I want you to live my life. Or I wouldn't want my brother to say, I want to live his life. Or he's going to live my life. He lives his life, I live my life. And I respect him for his, and I hope he respects me for mine. The same way you two will. And that's what creates a great team.
Yeah.
You know, understand what I mean? A family unit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went on a bit there. But...
That's all right. But all in all, I mean, death is a bit of it's a sticky subject, isn't it? Some people are gonna have conversation for days about it, you know, like endless.
It's something that a lot of people don't like talking about.
And they shy away from it.
They avoid it, and I don't think they should. There was a time in my life where I had realised I had a wake up call of death, and it shit me up. And I went through a really bad stage about death, and this was before my dad died. Your nan will tell you that I went through a really bad stage. I became fearful of everything. I don't know what the hell happened to me. It was it's in the book. It's an amazing chapter, an amazing fucking chapter. That it was something that I went so deep and dark, I thought I was never going to come out of it. And it wasn't that long ago I went back into that hole. It wasn't that long ago. And it seems like every once in a while
I go back in.
I go into that hole.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Is there a religion calling? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So exactly like when I said when we went to the grave, I said, is this the transition of what everyone is being taught religiously? Is it true or is it not true? Or are we all being lied to? You know what I mean? And sometimes I think to myself, when I go into that hole, when I go into a deep hole, Ree, I swear to you now, mate, it's morning, noon and night, just like you when you had your little bit of your, your breakdown, and you just consistently couldn't get these thoughts out of your head. Again, is it an OCD thing that I consistently thought about that moment, and that's why I feel like, that's why sometimes I feel like, when I call you and I go, have you done this yet? Have you done that yet? I'm like, please do it. Please. Let me think of something else.
Yeah.
Don't let me keep thinking about this same thing. I'm banging my head because there's a word in my head that keeps going, cool.
You're a bit of a nutter, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. We all can be like that. Anything else you want to touch on while we're on this subject?
No, I'm going to tell you why I don't. Because there's 2 chapters in the book. And both them chapters really break down what we're talking about today. And it's just great that we've took you back to the cemetery, the viewers, and given them a sense of where it is and visualize it, and and understand the emotions we were, because a book will not be able to break down your emotions. You understand what I mean? They won't be able to do that. They can explain a scenario and a situation and what it was. Otherwise, the book would have been just about a funeral.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was great that we went back there. And so I don't want to give too much away, because there's a couple of chapters in the book that really break it down to doves, to, do you understand, to having the family, what the Hodja was saying, the Imam, through into the mosque, to the journey. The whole thing was just so amazing, and I wouldn't want to give that all away. I would want someone to sit in their front room with a cup of tea, read it,
and really soak it
connect, and shed a fucking tear when they read it, to say, "Mem, I've been there. I've fucking been there." And if you haven't been there, it's for me to give you an understanding that moment you do go there, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right, we'll keep it at that. We won't go too much into it. But obviously we just wanted to have a little bit of a debrief after you guys watched the video. So yeah, we hope you enjoyed today's little chat. Me and Dad are back on good terms after the last podcast. I can feel that we're back to it. Neither of us are due on anymore.
For you to say you're not ready to do it today and we do it tomorrow because you're due on is not acceptable.
What's your fucking problem, mate? Anyway, we're over it.
Yeah, we're over it.
We're over it. We love each other again.
All the viewers are probably going, no, we want them to bloody argue. We enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I was surprised the amount of people that did actually enjoy it.
They loved it. Yeah. They were like, I know it. But there was one there was that I had to follow.
But yeah, so if you guys have enjoyed today's podcast, please make sure you hit the like button, comment, let us know your thoughts and feelings. As always, we do love to hear them. If you're not subscribed already to the channel, get subscribed, put your post notifications on, and you'll get notified every time we do upload, whether it's a podcast or it's a little documentary style video. We do plan to take you to a few more places in the future, so keep your eyes open for what we've got coming up. You can stream our podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And as always, me and Dad will be with you every Sunday at 5 p.m.
And we'd love some comments. It's important if
you
guys...
we do love connecting with you guys.
Yeah.
It's nice to establish... sorry, I keep cutting you off.
That's right. You can,
I'm doing a you.
Go on.
Yeah, it's nice to establish relations, connections, even if they're in their own little way. But we do encourage comments. We encourage DMs. We encourage follows. We encourage all of that. So, yeah, just spread the love. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, last little message. Practice gratitude. It's important to be grateful for the things that you have. I always say, be grateful for what you have. Don't focus on what you don't have. Just strive for better. But yeah, it's important to be grateful.
And tell people you love them.
Yep.
All right, it's so important.
Mm-hmm.
Me as a grown-ass man, you're not going to bloody believe this. I tell my clients I love them. I tell them that before they leave, I go, I'll see you later with all my love. And I mean that from the bottom. They don't know what to say. They look at me and go, I love you too. They don't know what to say. It's a cultural thing here.
Yeah.
In the UK, they can't say I love you.
Yeah.
You know, I tell everyone now, and this is one thing I've realised, it's built my confidence up in myself. Listen, I'm not gay. Yeah. and I should be proud that I can tell a man I love him without them going, I'm not gay. No, you're not gay, mate, and I'm not gay. I'm telling you I love you because I genuinely do mean that.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? I'm not in love with you.
Yeah.
And I love you because you've come in, you spent time with me, and we've had an amazing conversation and we've connected. You don't have to be family to do these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, I'm not going to walk down the street and every bloke that I see, I say I love him or whatever I say I love him.
We get it, Dad.
But, yeah, I just would love, just trust me. Say it.
Yeah.
And watch that other person's eyes when he looks at you. He's going to go, what's happened to you?
You feeling alright?
Huh?
Are you feeling alright?
But trust me, the sooner you get used to it and you start spreading it, I can guarantee you now, this world will be a better fucking place because what you're spreading is love. Yeah, you're spreading compassion. You're spreading time. You're spreading
good
commitment.
energy.
You're
Yeah.
spreading like, rah, man. Like, you know, if someone argues you in the car, just tell them, I'm sorry, mate. I didn't. Don't fucking put your back up. It's not worth it. All right. So anyway, I'm not going to say no more. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.